You think you know your pet? Loyal, loving, safe. But what if I told you that wagging tails or those late-night stare isn't just affection, but a warning? The new horror film Good Boy teases this idea. But the real cases that inspired it? They prove your pet might be hiding a truth darker than you can handle. So let's dive into the true stories that inspired this movie. And for the bravest viewers, check out my 2 true home invasion stories that will make you lock every door tonight. 1. The Demonic House Dog. Erling, Iowa, 1928. In 1928, in the quiet town of Erling, Iowa, one of the most infamous exorcisms in American history was unfolding. The case of Emma Schmidt, recorded under the pseudonym Anna Ecklund, lasted nearly 4 months. From August to December, the Catholic Church fought a battle they claimed was not against a woman, but against something inhabiting her. And in the middle of this supernatural war stood the family's German Shepherd. At first, the dog behaved like any faithful guardian. He followed Emma around the farmhouse. He sat by the door whenever Father Theophilus Riesinger, the lead exorcist, visited. But then, something changed. Weeks before Emma's possession fully revealed itself, the dog started to refuse entry into certain rooms. He would stop dead in the doorway, hackles raised, teeth bared at nothing. Imagine it. An animal bred to defend, suddenly trembling, tail tucked, eyes locked on a corner of empty air. The shepherd wasn't just scared. He was trying to warn them. As the exorcisms began, neighbors recalled hearing Emma's screams echoing from the farmhouse at night. But over those cries, there was another sound. The desperate howling of the dog, locked outside the room during rituals. He would claw at the door, pacing frantically as if he knew what was happening inside wasn't natural. Father Riesinger later wrote in his notes that the animal's behavior was his first sign that something unholy had entered the house. And then came the most chilling detail of all. On December 20th, 1928, just 3 days before Emma was officially declared free of the possession, the shepherd suddenly died. No warning, no illness. The animal that had tried to shield Emma, that had sensed the evil before anyone else, collapsed and never got back up. As if the evil it had been fighting finally won. The priest himself acknowledged the timing in his diary, noting that the dog's death was not a coincidence but a final act of sacrifice. Think about that for a moment. In Good Boy, the dog stands between his family and danger, a loyal shield against what lurks in the dark. But here in real life, the German Shepherd may have paid the ultimate price, absorbing the brunt of something no human eye could see. Just like in the movie, Father Riesinger admitted, the animal sensed evil before the humans did. But unlike Hollywood's version, this guardian paid the ultimate price. If this story already has you looking at your pet differently, hit that like button. But here's where it gets darker. Because not every guardian walks on 4 legs. In Salem, Massachusetts, one family discovered their cat wasn't just a pet. It was the only thing standing between their child and something ancient, violent, and determined to kill. 2. The Possessed House Cat, Salem, Massachusetts, 2021. In March of 2021, the Chen family moved into a historic colonial home in Salem, Massachusetts, a beautiful old house built in 1692, the same year the infamous Salem witch trials took place. At first glance, it was everything they wanted. Creaking wooden floors, antique fireplaces, that eerie charm only centuries-old houses carry. But history leaves scars, and this house had them carved deep. 3 families before the Chens had moved in, and each one of them moved out in less than 6 months. Still, the Chens weren't superstitious. They had a 12-year-old son, Jake, and a quiet, affectionate black cat named Luna. To them, she was just a pet, a source of comfort in a new home. But almost immediately, Luna's behavior shifted. On the very first night, she refused to enter the basement. She'd sit at the top of the stairs, ears flat, tail flicking in agitation, hissing at the empty dark below. Then she began avoiding the upstairs master bedroom, the very room where Mr. and Mrs. Chen were supposed to sleep. At first, the family laughed it off. She's just adjusting. But within days, laughter turned to unease. Day 3. Luna began hissing at empty air. No provocation, no person, no sound. Her fur bristled, her back arched, her eyes following something across the room. Something no one else could see. Week 1. The air turned icy in certain spots of the house. The family would walk from one warm room into another that felt like a refrigerator. Every time Luna was there, crouched low, staring into nothing, tail lashing as if she was daring something invisible to come closer. Week 2. The activity escalated. Kitchen cabinets slammed open. Doors creaked shut on their own. Objects moved across countertops. The Chens began to whisper about a haunting. And always, Luna was present. Week 3. It turned violent. Mrs. Chen woke up one morning with long, deep scratches running down her arms. Her husband was shoved down the stairs by something unseen, narrowly escaping a broken neck. Their son Jake reported hearing whispers in his room late at night, whispers telling him to hurt himself. And then came March 28th, 3:33 a.m. Jake was asleep when an invisible force wrapped around his throat. He bolted upright, clawing at his neck, gasping for air. His parents rushed to his room, but what they saw froze them in place. Jake thrashing violently on his bed, his lips turning blue, his eyes wide with terror. And Luna, the quiet, affectionate house cat, had leapt onto Jake's chest. She crouched over him, her body low, her fur bristling, her ears flattened. She wasn't attacking Jake, she was shielding him. Her eyes were fixed on something above the boy, and she let out a yowl so guttural, so primal, it didn't sound like a cat at all. She hissed, claws swiping at empty air. And then, the choking stopped. Jake collapsed back onto the bed, coughing, sobbing, alive. The unseen hands that had been wrapped around his neck were gone, and Luna, still crouched protectively over his chest, stayed there all night, eyes locked on the shadows above. The next morning, the Chens called paranormal investigators. What they uncovered made the family's blood run cold. The house had been built directly on the site of a woman's execution during the Salem witch trials. She had been accused of witchcraft, tortured, and hanged, right where the master bedroom now stood. And they weren't the first to encounter this. Previous owners had reported the same thing, their pets reacting violently, as though fighting enemies invisible to human eyes. The Chens moved out within days. But they never forgot the night Luna saved their son's life. As Mrs. Chen put it in an interview, the cat was fighting something we couldn't see. She put herself between our son and whatever that was. Think about that. Every time your pet stares at an empty corner, every time their fur bristles at nothing, they might not be reacting to nothing at all. If you've ever caught your pet staring into the dark, share this video, because you never know who else might need that warning. What happens when an ordinary family dog suddenly transforms at exactly 3 a.m.? A couple discovered the answer one night. For the Poltergeist Protector Pitbull Reddit story. Reddit is full of ghost stories. But every so often, one stands out. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's so ordinary. Until it isn't. User SuchAwesomeNolv12Q shared an experience that captures exactly why dogs are more than pets. They are supernatural guardians. The story takes place in a childhood home during a family visit. The witness and their spouse were spending the night in their old bedroom. At the foot of the bed, their pit bull was stretched out fast asleep, snoring like he always did. It was quiet, ordinary until the clock on the nightstand flipped to 3 a.m., the devil's hour. Without warning, the pit bull jolted awake, not with the lazy confusion of a dog stirring from sleep, but with a surge of energy as though he'd been shocked. His body stiffened, his ears shot up, and then came the growl. It was low at first, then deeper, then violent. The dog wasn't just awake, he was on guard. He leapt from the bed, positioned himself between his owners and the bedroom door, and began barking, a furious primal sound they had never heard from him before. This was a dog known for being gentle, lazy even. But that night, his entire personality changed. The couple froze, wide-eyed, waiting for the obvious. A burglar, a creak of the door, the sound of footsteps in the hall. But nothing came. The door didn't move. And yet the pit bull didn't stop. He kept himself pressed between the couple and that doorway, barking with a rage that only grew sharper. Whatever was there, and they swear something was there, retreated. The dog's growl softened. The barking slowed. And eventually, he relaxed, climbing back onto the bed, curling at their feet as if nothing had happened. The clock still read 4 a.m. The devil's hour had passed. The couple never forgot that night. They knew their dog hadn't been reacting to nothing. No storm, no sound, no burglar. Something unseen had entered their space. Something only the dog could sense. And at exactly the time legends say the veil between our world and the other is thinnest. As the witness later wrote, "To this day we think about how strange it was. He went from deep sleep to pure defense in seconds. It felt like he wasn't just protecting us. He was fighting something we couldn't see." Think about that the next time your pet wakes suddenly in the night. You might think they're restless, but maybe they're holding back the thing that came for you. Share this video if your pet has ever stared into the dark, because someone you know might need that warning tonight. But here's the question. Are pets truly fighting the supernatural, or are we just projecting our fears onto them? Science has an answer, because researchers have discovered that animals really can sense what we can't, and the explanation is almost as terrifying as the legends themselves. Skeptics will tell you these are just stories, coincidences, pets being pets. But before you dismiss it all as superstition, listen to what science has uncovered about the senses of animals. Dogs, cats, and other pets live in a world layered over ours, a world we can't access with human senses. Electromagnetic sensitivity. Animals can detect subtle shifts in electromagnetic fields, the very same changes paranormal investigators measure when they claim a ghost is near. Ultrasonic hearing. Dogs hear frequencies up to 65,000 hertz, infrared awareness. Some pets detect heat signatures invisible to the human eye, letting them see things we physically can't. So when your cat stares at a corner, or your dog growls at the dark, it might not be imagination. It might be science colliding with the supernatural. Ancient texts are full of references to animals seeing what humans cannot in the Bible. Balaam's donkey saw an angel blocking the path long before Balaam did. The Jewish Talmud says, "If dogs are crying, the angel of death has come to town." Folklore from around the world echoes the same truth. Humans are blind to forces that animals recognize instantly. Even modern studies back it up. In 2020, researchers at Arizona State University found that dogs will actively attempt to rescue humans in distress, without training, without hesitation. In 2024, a UK survey revealed that a quarter of dog owners admitted their pets regularly stare at nothing. But what if it isn't nothing? Veterinarians even note unexplained changes in pets' behavior. Refusing food, refusing rooms, sudden anxiety. Often just days before their owners report supernatural events. It's almost as if the animals aren't just sensing something, but preparing for it. And that brings us to the final truth. Maybe your pet isn't acting strangely. Maybe it's doing the only thing it knows how to do. Stand between you and whatever is waiting in the dark. If you're starting to look at your pet differently after this, hit that like button, because you're not alone. But here's the part no movie, not even Good Boy, will prepare you for. Because sometimes the pet doesn't just protect. Sometimes the pet pays the ultimate price so that you can live. And this brings us full circle to the movie Good Boy. On the surface, it's just a horror story about a loyal dog protecting its family from something evil. But after hearing the real cases tonight, you know the truth. Because in reality, our pets aren't just companions. They're shields. They're guardians. They're the first line of defense between us and forces we're not meant to understand. Every bark at an empty corner, every growl at a shadow, every refusal to enter a room. It might not be quirky behavior. It might be protection. And that's why Good Boy resonates with so many people, because deep down, we all know our pets see what we can't. But unlike in Hollywood, real life doesn't always have a happy ending. Sometimes the loyal pet doesn't just protect. Sometimes it sacrifices, and the family never even realizes until it's too late. So the next time your pet wakes you up in the middle of the night and stares at something that isn't there, ask yourself this: what are they really seeing, and what are they keeping away from you? Because one day, the only reason you wake up at all might be because your pet chose not to. Have you ever felt your pet was protecting you from something unseen? Share your story in the comments. These four-legged guardians deserve their recognition. And if you want more true supernatural stories, don't stop here. Watch my deep dive into The Conjuring Last Rites, the disturbing case Hollywood refused to film. Or check out 12 banned places in the world for real locations where even governments won't let you go. Because remember, evil doesn't just haunt houses. Sometimes it waits in the dark. These are the kinds of true stories we keep locked away inside the hidden horror vault. So if you want to unlock more, make sure you're subscribed, because the next nightmare might be worse. And if you have experienced such things, share your story in comments.